Hello and welcome back to another episode of Let's Build an E-commerce Store with a Spring Boot Backend. Episode 15, a major security bug. A security bug was found. During your development, the client sent a sample of the project so far to a vulnerability scanning company. A major security bug was found that allowed anyone to generate fake JWTs and still verify the login. Now, you remember multiple episodes back, we implemented our login and verification kind of system, and we used JSON Web Tokens, JWTs, to verify that the user's requests came from a specific user. And when we did our JWTs, we assigned it an encryption, and we encrypted it using that. However, we are not doing any verification when that JWT comes back. We're not verifying currently that the JWT is a valid JWT, that it was signed by us. And as a result, what's happened is that anyone can make a JWT from any sort of website and use that to be able to access any user's account. So let's jump into the development environment. We're going to first see how we recreate the security flaw. Then we're going to see how we fix it, test the fix, and then we're also going to build some JUnits around it. So let's jump straight into it. Right, and welcome back to the development environment. I'm going to just address the elephant in the room. IntelliJ has had an update and looks rather different. This is their new kind of beta UI, and I quite like it, so I'm going to be using it. But more or less everything's still the same, so it shouldn't be too confusing, I hope. Let's get to our security flaw. So if we start up our application, here we go. We remember in Postman here, when we do auth login with our test3 password 1, we can send that and we receive our user not verified message. I'm hoping one of the other users is verified. Here we go. Use test 1. Test 1 is verified. Okay, so you send that off to the server and you receive this, a JWT, JSON Web Token. Now that, according to our service, if we look up here, we generate it with the claim of username key, which, if we remind ourselves, is the username, all in caps. We say it expires at a given date, and it's with the issuer, which is drawn in from our properties file, and we sign it with an algorithm, and that's our kind of encryption algorithm that it uses. So when we take this token, we use this in our auth.me endpoint, and we pop it into our token here, and we send it off, and we get our data back. If we were to provide no token at all, recall we get our 403 forbidden response. We don't get access to it. So let's see what happens if we go to this website, jwt.io, which is a very handy website. It talks all about the JSON Web Token and the all the bits and pieces around it. And let's go down here. If we come down to here, we've got this debugger. This allows us to generate JWTs on the fly. So let's put our JWT that we just generated in here. And as you can see, we've got issuer e-commerce, username test1, expiration, the date that we've got it, and as you can see, we've not had to specify the signature, and we still get this information out. So anyone could just take the JWT and figure out what our key items are to generate this token. But and the really dangerous part is that I can now come in here and go, let's say, remove this. And we're going to do a new payload with username is test-1. Right, so I've got a username here. I've got an algorithm. I think you're supposed to be able to do type with a saying it's a JWT, but I don't think that matters too much. But you see, I've got username test1. I've not put any signature, but you can see it's verified the signature. So before it was saying it couldn't verify. And I can take this, I can copy it. So I've done no encryption here. I've got no special clauses, issue a tag or anything like that. I can come down to Postman, drop that in here, hit send, and it's verified me. Now that's a massive flaw, because that means that anyone, if they figure out that they need to have the username key, they can just put anything. So for example, test3. I want to log in as test3. I drop that in there, hit send, and I get forbidden because test3 isn't verified. But if we were to quickly verify test3, I think we've got the thing here. Here we go, test3. If I was to quickly take the token from in here and verify test3 quickly, so go into this one and drop the token in here like that and hit send. That's verified. So now test3 is verified. If I hit send, look, I'm logged in as test3. No proper hacker work involved really. It's just pretty basic change, and all of a sudden I'm logged in as test3. That's pretty damn dangerous. So let's open up twice. So how do we resolve that? That's the major question. Well, let's go and look at how we get the username out. So in our JWT service, we've got a get username method. It just does JWT decode, and this decode does no verification around is it a valid token. So what you actually need to be using is going and doing decoded JWT, and we'll just call it JWT for short. Now we'll import that class, and that's equal to JWT.require based off our algorithm that we're currently using, and then build, and then we do verify token. And what this is saying is we're saying JWT library, I've got this algorithm, please build me a verification class that knows how to verify with this algorithm, and then verify this token. And it gives me the JWT token. And you can see if we look at the verify method, I'll quickly download the sources. You can see here, it throws JWT verification exception. And it says, if algorithm stated in the token's header is not equal to the one defined in JWT verifier. And then it says, if the signature is invalid, there's another one, that's a signature verification exception. Then you've also got, if the token is expired, you get the token expired exception. If a claim to be verified is missing, also gets thrown. Incorrect claim exception if a claim contained a different value than the expected one. So you've got all of these little bits of verification it also does up front, and that's what we were missing. So that's what we needed to do. So we also now need to come here and just replace that with jwt.getClaim. So now if we refresh our application, or restart it, should I say, we can see that load in the background while I come in here. And remember, this is currently our JWT we just generated online. And if we hit send, now we get our exception. We get 500 internal exception error. Now, obviously, this we want to handle this slightly better. But for now, this is good because we're just preventing it. That's the important thing. So you can see signature verification exception. The token signature resulted invalid when verified using the algorithm, and then it sends off that algorithm that we were using. And obviously, again, that's not particularly good in terms of security. We shouldn't tell people what algorithm we're using. However, it's good for a temporary measure until we do our error handling tutorial later on. So that's good. And something else that I would like to show you while we're doing this is if we go back to Postman and take the verification we got earlier from this login, and we go back to our JWT, and we're going to drop that into the encoded. And you see here we've got that invalid signature, right? And that's because down here we're saying we're using this encoding, but we're not checking it. We've not got the secret here, you see. And if you remember, in here we have our secret. where's algorithm key. And if we go into our application properties where we've set it, we remember it's super secure secret key. And if we come back here and drop that in there, you can see signature verified. So that's what it's doing. Is it's going when you have a JWT, nothing stops you from being able to decode it to figure out who the issue is, when it expires, what's the username, right? There's nothing stopping you from doing that. But what stops you from being able to replicate it is the signature correct? Is it being used? Are we using the same encryption algorithm, and are we using the same secure key based on that? So that's how we do it. So that's why it's so important that this super secure key is actually a super secure key and not some generic thing like password or super secure key like that. And also it's just as important that when you have your application properties, this field is populated at runtime by something else. It's not just in your application properties. So as soon as someone gets your code, that's it, game over. So now let's write some JUnits around this, just to make sure that everything is safe and secure still. So if we come down to our JUnits, and we've got JWT request filter test, or in fact we don't even need to do it there, we can do it down here in JWT service test. So we can see here, we've got some bits and pieces where we test JWTs. Let's make a new test, and this is going to public void test JWT not generated by us. And then this is where we can go jwt.create with claim username dot sign algorithm dot hmac256, and then go not the real secret. Sorry, username. And then we're going to call it user A because that's the user we want to use. And then what we're going to do is we get the string token out of that. And then we want to go jwt service.get username token, and we're going to do assertions dot assert throws, and then it's what is it? It's that verification token. No, what is it again? That one we were just looking at. Signature verification exception. So signature verification exception.class, and then this is the code that we're running. Let me just do that as a lambda, and there we go. So now we've got that little JUnit. So we're generating a token, putting our fake claim with the username user A, which is a valid user, and the username is the key we use. We're signing it with some algorithm. We've not even put the issuer in. And then we're going to throw that, and if we run this quickly, we can see that the test should pass. And there we go, it's passed. Now, we also have another another thought to do. So let's auto wire in the algorithm key that we had before. And what happens if test JWT correctly signed no issuer? So what happens if we do string token equals jwt.create.withClaim username user A dot sign algorithm dot hmac256, and then we've got the what is it, algorithm key we've called it. Okay, so we've now created a token with the correct signature, and then if we go back to our JWT verifier, we've got signature, and then remember when we generate our JWT, we assign an issuer. And what if we want to verify that issuer? Well, at the moment this isn't doing anything, so we can actually do here with issuer and provide the issuer. So we're requiring the algorithm, and we're saying we want it, make sure it's using this issuer as well, and then we build it. So now, when you put through a token, if it's not got the right issuer, it will reject it. The only thing is, I'm not 100% sure which algorithm which exception it throws if token's not expired, if claims to be verified is missing. I'm going to guess it's missing claim exception, but I would say let's try and test this a different way. So if we start up our application again, now we've made that little change. So in JWT service, we're now saying with issuer. And we go back to our little helpful bit that we have here. So we've got our signature verified. This is the one that we know that's 100% right. If we come in here and just remove the issuer line there, and then try and use this code again, and send that off. Missing claim exception. So there we go. Missing claim exception is the one we want. The claim ISS, which is the issuer. So there we go. So we want to do another assertion here. So assertions.assert throws missing claim exception.class lambda to say we want to do JWT service dot get username token. We can run that, and then fingers crossed we should have another passing JUnit to say, oh, you can't do that, that's not got the right token in it. And there we go. And then obviously you could run all of the JUnits just to verify again after, which I'll do off camera. But yeah, so there we go. We identified a major security flaw. We've gone in, we've replicated the error or the flaw. We've then figured out how can we fix the flaw. What is it that we're doing wrong, and then we've tested it. And on top of that, we've written JUnits around it to ensure that if anything does change in the future, we don't accidentally start making it worse again. Obviously, another question in your mind may be, well, what about the verification tokens? Well, remember, the verification tokens, we generate the verification token with a signed signature. However, when we send it off to the user, and the user does that verification link, we don't actually pull the email out of that verification JWT. We compare the JWT to a database of JWTs that we've generated for people, and that's how we check that the JWT exists. So the JWT is less of a kind of a verification token in that instance. It's more of just like a handling ID or like a conversation ID. Oh, you've asked for the email to be verified. Here's your conversation ID. Oh, I've got my conversation ID. Can I verify, please? Yes, here you go, sort of thing. So it's maybe a bit overkill using JWT for that, but it's just an easier way to keep everything centralized. You're using the same technology in one place rather than having JWTs here, some unique ID generator here, and it gets a bit confusing. That's how I prefer to do it anyway. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. This is the end of the episode. As always, in my channel there is a playlist with all the videos in order, so you can watch through all of them. Feel free to like, subscribe, and comment any feedback. It's always helpful for me and others. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.